Bellator 274, Gracie versus Storley. These are the full card predictions and the betting breakdown. I am looking forward to talking about each matchup on this card. The prelims are lacking a bit, especially the early prelim fights. Definitely dangerous bets. Like I like to say before every Bellator breakdown, be very cautious betting Bellator, especially if you're throwing down on the prelims. I still think there's some money to potentially be made at the top, especially with some potential underdogs. We're doing this live, but if you're watching on replay, don't worry. I'll have the timestamps already linked up for you. If you're watching live and you have questions for me, I will be answering questions after the prelims and then also after the main card. So stay tuned for that. If you're watching on replay and you're really not interested in the fan questions, you guys can definitely jump past it with the timestamps. I'll have it all linked up. Much love, my people. Smash that like button. Make sure you also subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Turn on those post notifications as well. And I'm ready to jump into Bellator. Shout out to everybody who's watching live and replay as well. I am going to bring up the Tapology. It is through StreamYard, so I will look a little bit shrunken down, but I don't think it's a bad look. I want to jump right to the first fight of the night, though. So let me get set up here and let's get right into it. No, that's too small there. We'll put it in the full screen size. All right, let me roll down to the first fight of the night. Like, it's a terrible first fight of the night. This is not Bellator level action, at least from what I perceive to be Bellator at one point. Nowadays, this is kind of what we unfortunately get with Bellator cards. Early in the night, there's some lower level mixed martial arts. Looking at this fight, I believe Lorenzo should definitely win it. This is Jonathan Di Lorenzo versus Orlando Mendoza. If you look at Mendoza, kind of a tall, stiff striker. I was not impressed at all by his debut. He got beaten up out there. Granted, it was at a 190-pound catch weight, I believe. And now he fights at 170, a more natural weight for him. I think Jonathan Di Lorenzo should win, but I'll be 100% honest. These guys are low-level MMA fighters, 0-1 versus 1-0. You really can't imagine betting it. Like, to me, if you're betting on this fight, you're being very irresponsible. Jonathan Di Lorenzo should definitely win. I think on paper he wins from the film that I've seen. I believe his wrestling will be a factor. I'm picking him here, but it's not a bet fight. No bet for me on this one, but I am going to give you guys the odds as I always do. I got to throw them at you. So for this matchup, Mendoza is the plus 255 dog. Di Lorenzo a minus 290 favorite. A fighter with as low experience as this would just be a silly bet, and you can definitely get yourself into some real trouble playing this fight. We'll go Di Lorenzo over Mendoza. I'm thinking he'll work towards potentially a decision grinding. Could see a late stoppage, but really more so on that decision side of things. Di Lorenzo over Mendoza in a not supreme high-level fight. This isn't necessarily Bellator level. It's filler prelims, and that's what we start off with, unfortunately. Let's keep running up the card. Isaiah Hokit versus Theodore Macuka. I believe this is the same type of situation. Obviously, there's some belief in a Hokit through Bellator's team. They're bringing him back once again. He fights against Theodore Macuka, who is the opponent here. I mean, you see the favorite status for Hokit on the screen there. I'll pick Hokit to win, but I'll be 100% honest. This guy was knocked out in 10 seconds in his debut. Yes, he has a wrestling background, but he has no amateur MMA pedigree. Theodore Macuka does have some amateur fights, has losses as pro. He's 1-2. His striking style, from what he showed against Cody Law, was hard to watch. His most recent fight in Cage Warriors, he was knocked out in 11 seconds. Both these guys are coming off 10-second knockout losses, essentially. It's a low-level MMA fight. Unfortunately, Bellator bringing it to us. We're going to watch it. I'll break it down. I think Hokit's going to land the takedowns. I think he'll grind towards a decision. He looked terrible striking. He looked frozen on the feet as soon as Corey Samuels, that was his debut opponent, started cracking him with shots. He was out. Done. It was 10 seconds in, literally. Theodore Macuka's coming off an 11-second knockout loss. This is bad all around. If Macuka wins, I guess it just ends Hokit essentially here with Bellator, but I believe Bellator has a little money behind them. They're giving them another showing. I think the wrestling should be a factor. I'm going second round TKO Isaiah Hokit. Now looking towards the betting side of things on this fight, Hokit is a minus 290 favorite, best value plus 255 Macuka. Hokit should win. He was knocked out in 10 seconds. Like, come on, man. You can't throw down on this fight. This would be naive to bet. Do what you want to do. But that's my opinion. These Bellator early prelims are danger zone. We'll go Hokit for the win, but it's lower level MMA. And it definitely can get you into some serious trouble if it's something you're looking to actually cash financially with. But that's the prelims for you, man. That's the prelims tonight. You're going to see another one. This one, I guess, you know what? I can't totally shaft this one. It steps up a bit. It is Justin Montalvo, Corey Samuels. Montalvo looks legit as a prospect. Samuels is his opponent here. I want to pull up Samuels' amateur record. He was a terrible amateur fighter. He went 0-9, and then he won his final fight, decided to turn pro. You look at his pro career, he's got some wins, but they're against really nobodies here. The Hokit fight, he knocked him out in 10 seconds. That was impressive. He's a southpaw with blistering fast hands. I'm picking Montalvo to win, though. Montalvo trains over at Longo Weidman MMA. He seems to have a pretty good boxing tool set. He's pretty fast. He'll dig low to the body. I like the way he'll throw straight punches. He'll work a jab as well. Seems to be a pretty crispy boxer for a guy that's only 4-0. I think there's definitely a bright future on the Montalvo side. I feel like he should beat Samuels here. I'm thinking second round knockout. I think he will wear on Samuels. I do think Corey Samuels is a lot better than his amateur career. He did get a lot of experience. 3-2 pro record definitely looks a lot better than when he was an amateur at 1-9. But I still think Montalvo gets to win and stops him in the second round. Now, looking at the odds for this fight, they're very strong in the favor of Montalvo, minus 340 to plus 280. Low likelihood that the dog Samuels could come through here. I really think Montalvo beats him up. There should be a clear level difference. I'll be honest, I wouldn't be mad if this fight was minus 600. It's not competitive at all. Montalvo destroys Corey Samuels inside of 2 rounds. Let's keep running. This next fight is where the action heats up just a smidge here. There's a little bit of name recognition on the line. Jordan Newman is a prospect to keep an eye on, certainly. He takes on Cody Herbert. I will note this. Herbert, I got to give the man some respect. He's been fighting over at Gamebred FC in the bare knuckles MMA, 1-1 record there. That being said, I'm picking Jordan Newman all day, but I can't hate on from what I've seen of Herbert. He's got heart. And that's evident. He's a military man. He likes to scrap. He'll press inside with straight shots. He'll mix it up and go to war, essentially, and let the hands fly a bit too much. Susceptible to double legs. The guy he lost to was a 4-4 fighter, I believe. And now he fights Jordan Newman, a 3-0 prospect who's a beast of a wrestler, developing his stand-up game. I think Newman's going to run him over inside of a round. I think he's going to take him down and beat the brakes off Cody Herbert. As soon as this fight hits the floor, I don't see Herbert finding a way up. Newman, KO, TKO, round number 1. Looking at the lines, it's minus 550 for Newman to plus 450 for Cody Herbert. I'm on Newman, minus 550, but it's a no bet fight for me. That'd be a low quality play. Minus 500, 3-0. Yeah, he's definitely going to win. Maybe if you can find a prop inside distance or knockout prop even inside distance. He could get a submission, but more so inside distance, TKO even, probably gonna be sitting at minus 250. If somehow you find it at minus 125, I'm okay with that play. But as far as playing Jordan Newman money line, not a chance here. Newman for the win, TKO, round 1 over Cody Herbert. Those are the early prelims. I'll be honest, I don't love breaking down lower level fights there. And it's not like there's bad fighters there. There's potential with Montalvo, Newman, a lot of question marks around the rest, but it's just lower level matchmaking. It's something that you'd see starting off an LFA card rather than starting off a Bellator lineup. That's the early prelims. Let's jump to the real prelims. If you guys haven't yet, smash that like button and let's talk about this fight. I'm actually interested in this matchup. DeAnna Bennett versus Justine Kish is a fight that I want to see. I actually think these ladies are going to fight, and it's going to be entertaining. On the side of DeAnna Bennett, I have to respect the veteran of the game. Same with Kish. Both girls older, though. 37 Bennett, 33 for Kish. I'll tell you right out the gate, I'm leaning the dog DeAnna Bennett side. I'm going to go with her here. I like her scrappy stand-up style. I like her pressure wrestling. Her control from the top is good. On the opposite side, Kish, though, has fought better competition as of recent. She's been fighting in the UFC for a long time. Unfortunately, was recently released after a loss to Tracy Cortez. Split decision in that one. Pressure striker, a little bit of peppering striker, I would call her. She'll throw like awkward straight punches. Not necessarily great offensively with the wrestling, but will look to clinch up and get fights to the floor. She's going to be able to do that to some girls. She's not going to be able to do it like to an OG like DeAnna Bennett here. I think DeAnna Bennett wins this fight by a decision. It's near even money, but DeAnna Bennett can be found at plus money, and I'm all over the underdog here. Plus 110. Now, I'm not saying I'm all over it like I'm betting the house down, but if you did bet this one, I can't hate on you all that much. I mean, I think there's money to be made on the DeAnna Bennett side. I think she can win a decision. We'll see what happens when props drop here. Maybe there's some over-unders that I'll like, but right now, just money lining it. DeAnna Bennett, underdog play, plus 110. I believe she wins. Close decision. I could even see it being a split. So it could definitely be a nerve-wracking bet here, but I do expect DeAnna Bennett's wrestling, pressure, and I think a little bit better stand-up to be the difference maker in this matchup. Let's keep running up. Next fight of the night. Aviv Gozali versus Bobby King. Now I'm excited. This prospect of Aviv Gozali is real. I'm picking him to win. I'll tell you guys that immediately out the gate. I don't think Bobby King stands a chance as soon as this fight hits the floor. Gozali is a submission ace who's extremely confident with his grappling skills, considers himself, an unnamed Gracie. He's only 21. This dude's young, and he actually has some serious ground tools. He had like an 11-second Inamari roll, submission win in one of his early Bellator fights. He leg locks a lot of people. You got to watch out for any limb when you go to the ground with this guy. Bobby King has an okay striking style. I will say I got to respect King. He went 3 rounds with Alexander Shabalai, but I think Gozali's style is just so tricky to deal with the submissions. I'm expecting first or second round sub for Gozali. I do think he'll find it over Bobby King, but it's not an easy matchup. The underdog in this one could end up coming through. I mean, if Gozali can't get the submission, if he can't get the fight to the floor, what happens striking? I think Bobby King could piece him up. Not confident in that, though, but I do like Bobby King's boxing. Pretty pressure-heavy style. Decent hooks inside. His takedown defense is okay, but it's questionable, especially when you take on a guy with that tricky grappling style like Gozali. I think he finds himself in trouble. Submission inside of 2 rounds for the Aviv Gozali side. Now, looking at the lines for this matchup, Gozali is a minus 250 favorite at best value. Bobby King plus 240. I like Aviv at minus 250. Don't love the bet. I just think he's too wide. I think it's a way to burn money, but I definitely feel like Gozali has that submission game that compares to some of those Danaher Death Squad guys that transition to MMA, like a Ryan Hall-esque style with the submissions. I like it. Aviv Gozali for the win via submission. If King gets to the floor with this man, I think he's in trouble. If he can end up keeping it on the feet, there's obviously a puncher's chance here because I do think King has the better technical striking for sure. Next fight of the night. Jaylon Bates, Chris Disonell. Jaylon Bates is a serious prospect. I'll tell you straight out, I'm picking him to win here. Of course, he's a huge favorite, as you'd expect. Bellator is grooming this talent, and I think they got a special kid with Jaylon Bates. I really like the style. A lanky grappler who has a rangy stand-up style, but on the floor is slick. Very good submissions. Transitions well to different submissions as well. Can be in mount, shoot for the armbar, can shoot for a guillotine, transition into other moves. I mean, he's just extremely proficient with his ground game transitions. Not the best pure wrestler, but has that more jiu-jitsu-esque style of grappling where he's going to try to get you down. He'll wear on you, he'll hang on you, he'll put you against the cage, he'll slowly try to work to your back. Chris Disonell is a scrappy stand-up fighter. He has an okay wrestling base, and he is pretty confident fighting in the clinch, I would say. But as soon as he wraps up with Jaylon Bates, I think he's in a lot of trouble. Chris Disonell has never been submitted as a pro, but he was tapped out twice as an amateur. I think Jaylon Bates submits him in the second round here. Could also see it in the first, but leaning second. Jaylon Bates win by submission. The submission prop would probably be the only bet worth touching here. Not out just as of yet, as of this video here. But on this week's Best MMA Bets, we'll cover the in-depth betting side, assuming they drop all the props by tomorrow. Jaylon Bates, minus 800. Chris Disonell, plus 600. No money to be made, but Jaylon Bates will win the fight, and I expect him to do so by submission inside of 2 rounds here. Let's jump to the next fight of the night. The comeback of Brennan Ward. He fights Brandon Bell. You know, when you come back from a long layoff, I get nervous. For certain, I'm worried that there's a chance that Brandon Bell somehow finds the chin of a way past his prime Brennan Ward. But, man, he's a 10-10 fighter. I'm picking Brennan Ward to win from what I've seen in the past, though, which is never a good thing. His last fight was 4 years ago, nearly 4.5 years ago, really. He lost to Fernando Gonzalez. Prior to that, it was 5 years ago. Paul Daly, flying knee, knocked him out. That was a highlight reel for Paul Daly. Brandon Bell is on a 3-fight losing streak in MMA. He's fought recently as 2.5 months ago, losing that fight. The guy takes a lot of L's. He's 10-10. He is pretty jacked. He's got a nice build on him, but that doesn't help you in the fight game. You look at Bell, he's got a pressure striking style, will definitely look to wrestle, seems to be a pretty physically strong guy, has some slams in the arsenal, but Brennan Ward is a big jump in competition as far as skills do go. Granted, both guys, they're 21st pro bout, so experience is even. Bell's an older guy, but he's been more active. Brennan Ward, for certain, is the better striker. He has power in his hands. He's got a heavy pressure style with the striking and will unload early. His hooks are dangerous. And you know what? He's not a bad wrestler in his own right, too. I like his boxing, though. I think the hands will be on display. I think Brennan Ward's going to sleep Brandon Bell. I think we're going to have a bit of a slobber knocker type fight here with both guys just going at it early. With Ward being out a while, of course, I'm concerned that he gets hit cold early and potentially dropped and just has a bad performance, or he might be way past his prime. But from what I've seen, if you match up the previous Brennan Ward, who fought against Fernando Gonzalez, versus Brandon Bell here, Brennan Ward should destroy him. It shouldn't be competitive in the slightest, and that's why I'm picking Brennan Ward to win. Now, looking at the lines for this fight, Brennan Ward is a minus 420 favorite. Brandon Bell, a plus 348, nearly plus 350 underdog. 10-10 Bell should get beaten here. This is a give me fight for Ward, without a doubt. They're looking to give him a W here. They're looking to push him up and give him an opportunity, right, to come back and make a name for himself again in Bellator. I expect him to do well and get a dominant performance off. First round win, KO. These fights are more fun. The other fights, though, just those early prelims just disappoint me. Let's jump to the featured prelim of the night. Mandel Nallo versus Nick Browne. You know, I've been very impressed with Mandel Nallo's striking game. He's a special prospect, certainly. He has the tools to keep an eye on. He's somebody that I think has bright potential striking. But he's being thrown, in my opinion, to the lion's den here. You match him up with Nick Browne, a guy that's got a good amount of pro experience, a solid fighter for sure. I like the stand-up game of Nick Browne. He's pretty damn good with his kickboxing. He's durable. He puts pressure on his opponents, heavy kicks, good dexterity. Mandel Nallo, more of a sniper style, rangy kickboxer. His kicking game is really good. His hands are quick, but I think Nick Browne has more grit than him. Nallo moves better, but can Browne find him? I feel like Browne is going to bring the pressure. Might even look to mix in a bit of wrestling here. I'm going Nick Browne. I'm going for the underdog. I'm picking him to win here. I expect him to get it done probably via decision in this spot. I think it could be competitive, but I think Browne edges it out by a smidge here. Now, looking at the lines, Browne is a plus 135 underdog. Mandel Nallo, the minus 150 favorite. I like the underdog, Nick Browne. I've seen good tools from him. He's got a background fighting in, LFA, decent competition. Arthur Escarlias, Bennett, probably botched that name there. Nallo does have a bad loss to Khalis Mota, who, funny enough, is in the UFC co-main event. Or actually, no, excuse me. That is Nicholas Mota, not the same Mota, but lost to Khalis Mota, who's a dangerous striker as well. That's a TKO loss that he has on the record. Nick Browne on the opposite side, I do think beats him on a hard-fought decision. I like the underdog. Nick Browne for the win. I think standing up, Nallo is more technical. Browne is more gritty. If they clinch up, I favor the Browne side. I'll pick Browne to get the win in this featured prelim of the night. Overall, the prelims aren't too shabby once you get past the early ones. We got a decent main card upcoming that I'm looking forward to seeing here. I will answer some questions here if you guys have any. I'll run through the comments and say what's up to the people watching live. If you're watching on replay, I'll have the timestamp. You can jump ahead. We're flying through Bellator, baby. There's action to talk about here, and I wanted to do it live just to mix things up. If you guys followed for a while, you know this is kind of how I used to do the breakdowns all the time. Let me see here. Who do I got in the main event? You'll find out in just a few moments, my man. What is up, bro? What is up? You think, let me see this. You think Gozali, Bates, Newman, Koreshkov, and Gracie not to get finished? What do you think? I mean, I don't think any of them get finished. Newman, Koreshkov, Bates, Gozali. I think that's a solid play. If you go Gracie not to get finished, not on just the Gracie pick side, I think you could do it. I mean, you're mixing in some Bellator prelim fighters, but I actually think that is a parlay that could come through for you. Bellator prelims will have you go in debt. Most definitely, bro. And that's why I really suggest staying away from them. But if you want to play it, go for it. Ryan Hall's son, I'm assuming you're referring to Aviv Gozali. Dude, he really is like a young Ryan Hall style. I like what I'm seeing from that kid. I think he's special. He's somebody to watch. I'm keeping my eye on him. I expect him to get the win here, and the momentum keep pushing on in his favor. I will jump now to the main card. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn those post notifications on. Much love to everybody tuning into the show, baby. Oh, let me answer this one last question, actually, right here. We'll never watch Bellator behind a paywall. That is Bellator's biggest problem, is doing the Showtime thing. They should be on a free TV network. Put them on CBC Sports, CBS, whatever. Put them on something on mainstream television. That's their biggest downfall. I hate that they're doing it. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, man. I'll continue to run through the card, main card time. If you guys haven't, smash that like button. And let's start it off. Davion Franklin versus Saeed Sowma. The action is good here on this Bellator main card. I'm excited to see what happens between these two. I'm picking the Sowma side. He is a favorite in this spot, and I think deservingly so. If you look at Davion Franklin, who's he fought, right? You look at the resume, had a hard time with Ras Hilton, quickly knocked out Everett Cummings, who was like 15-0, but had fought literally nobody. Prior to that, I think he beat Tyler King by knockout, and Tyler King gets knocked out pretty much every time that he fights. Saeed Sowma just beat Vitaly Minakov. I think this guy is being slept on by a lot of people. He's an undersized heavyweight, certainly, but he brings a serious speed advantage over a lot of these bigger heavyweights. Moves well against the cage. You're going to have to chase this guy down. Heavy calf kicks, decent hooks. He also works a pretty nice jab. He doesn't have a long reach, but he's got a sniper jab. He comes in quick with it. Davion Franklin, athletic and explosive specimen. For certain, he has knockout power. His takedowns are pretty good against the lower level guys, but you're fighting Saeed Sowma now. This is a jump in competition that I don't think Davion Franklin will be ready for in the slightest. I think Saeed Sowma should look to work him over. I expect Franklin to start fatiguing late. I think Sowma capitalizes. I like third round TKO for Saeed Sowma, the undersized heavyweight who's got the skill set to lead the way here. He's 8-2, beat Vitaly Minakov. Good names on the record. Hani Marsh prior to that. Davion Franklin's not there yet. I think he gets stopped. Looking at the lines for this one, Franklin is a plus 135 dog. Saeed Sowma, minus 133. I'm on the side of Saeed Sowma, man. I think he's going to get an impressive win. I think he's a guy that you could put money down on. I like the odds being fairly competitive here, minus 130. If you find it in the minus 130 range for Sowma, I would play that line. I personally will be. I like him to win. I think he's got the tools to win this fight. Saeed Sowma over Davion Franklin. Good stuff. Next fight, the featured bout of the night. Georgi Karakhanyan welcomes Adam Piccolotti back to the Bellator cage. I'm excited for this one. My buddy Mike Finch actually just dropped a piece on his channel about Adam Piccolotti. You should definitely check that out as well. Just to give him a little short plug here. But honestly, what you see is Piccolotti is changing his game and revolutionizing it for him to come back. I actually expect Piccolotti to show a lot of improvements. I mean, he's always been pretty good. Split decision loss to Benson Henderson. The fight just recently he lost to, it was Sydney Outlaw, split decision. He's in these razor-thin fights versus Bellator's best talent. Georgi Karakhanyan is a savage. I love Georgi. He's an OG, but I'm picking Piccolotti to win. I feel like the difference is Piccolotti's wrestling. I think that Karakhanyan can struggle defending those takedowns, especially with Piccolotti having a pretty tight kickboxing style. He keeps his guard up pretty well, solid hands. He's fast. He's athletic as well and moves well. Timing takedowns, he's pretty good at. He brings a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt to the slate too. I think that's a positive factor in his favor. On the opposite side, Karakhanyan is a power striker. He's got that Thai-esque style of kickboxing. He's pretty fast, and he definitely throws heavy-handed shots at his opponents. Now, he has a decent Thai clinch as well as good knees from there. Better wrestlers will control him, though, and I think Piccolotti is one of those better wrestlers. I don't think that Georgi goes down easy by any means, but I like Adam Piccolotti by a hard-fought decision here. The odds, I think, are actually too wide for this one. I think it's minus 175, plus 135, but right now it's actually at minus 275 to plus 240 at best value for Georgi Karakhanyan. I think they're giving a little too much favor to the Piccolotti side. I definitely see him winning, but the line should be a lot closer. It turns me off from playing it. I'm probably going to skip and pass on this bet here, but I do think Adam Piccolotti gets the win over Georgi Karakhanyan, and I do expect it to be by decision in this Bellator featured bout of the night. Let's keep on running up. Co-main event of the evening. Andrei Koreshkov versus Chance Rencontre. I like this matchup. I think that Andrei Koreshkov will knock Chance Rencontre out. Andrei Koreshkov is a very good fighter. He's still super dangerous. I feel like maybe a little bit forgotten by some over in Bellator, but he's top of the line for certain. He's a dangerous striker who's got good kickboxing skills. He also mixes in that spinning attack. He's an Alexander Shlemenko protege, so that's where he gets those spins. Koreshkov's pretty rangy and does bring some real power with his hands. He'll let him fly in close range and he'll rip nice combinations, especially when he has his opponents backed up against the cage. On the side of Chance Rencontre, southpaw with a decent kickboxing game. I've noticed he's a bit hittable with straight punches. I think Koreshkov will expose that here. Rencontre will want to wrestle. I don't think that's easy to do. Koreshkov can wrestle his ass off. One thing about Rencontre, I guess that is a solid positive. He does fight out of the southpaw stance. Maybe that could cause some technical disturbances to Koreshkov, but I don't believe so. He's got over, 24-4. This is his 29th mixed martial arts bout. I think Koreshkov should be able to outstrike Rencontre, fend off takedown and clinch attacks, and I think Koreshkov stops him inside of 2 rounds. I like Koreshkov for the win by TKO in the second. Looking at the lines, Koreshkov's a big favorite, minus 260. Rencontre plus 235, but I'm confident in the Koreshkov side. I think he has the tools to win, man. I love this fight. Honestly, guys, I love this fight. I was shitting on the early Bellator fights, but this fight has me ready to watch. I hope that I can tune into both cards because, I'm going to be having the full card fight companion for the UFC. If time permits, I'll jump on Bellator, especially for the main card because they have a solid main card. It's just the prelims definitely a little bit lacking early in the night, but doesn't matter here. Just have to give that a note, give my peace of mind on it. Andrei Koreshkov for the win, and I do expect him to do so by TKO in the second round. And let's jump up to the main event of the evening. It is Neiman Gracie, Logan Storley. If you guys are tuning in and you have not yet, please do me a favor, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, show some love. Let me know what you think of this live breakdown. I know the look is not optimal with me being so small in the corner box here, but I do love the flow of StreamYard as opposed to OBS for live streaming. It's just a better platform to do so. But some people I know prefer the pre-recorded breakdowns. The vote went towards doing it live, so I decided to do it live here. It's Neiman Gracie, Logan Storley. Smash those likes, and let's talk about this fight. Okay, Neiman Gracie is a jiu-jitsu ace. I mean, look at the name, Gracie. Logan Storley is a savage wrestler who nearly beat Yaroslav Amosov. He's an underdog as well. Dog hunting is the way to shoot at Bellator, and I think stylistically speaking, Logan Storley matches up very well against Neiman Gracie. As long as he minds his P's and Q's, doesn't get crazy shooting for takedowns, putting his neck out there, Logan Storley should press Neiman Gracie against the cage and make this a boring fight. Similar to maybe even an Usman Masvidal 1. Press him there, make Gracie try to fight out of it. Striking, I'd say slight advantage, the Gracie side. Wrestling advantage, definitely Storley. Control advantage, Storley. Jiu-jitsu edge, Gracie. But is Gracie's jiu-jitsu good enough to get a submission off against Logan Storley? Maybe in a pure jiu-jitsu match, yes. But in mixed martial arts, I think Logan Storley matches up extremely well with Neiman Gracie. I think Logan Storley works towards a 5-round decision in a competitive bout. He also trains over at Sanford MMA. I think Storley's in the mix for a title shot with a win here. His only loss is a razor-thin fight that could have gone either way versus the dominant champion, Yaroslav Amosov, who's 25-0. Neiman Gracie and Logan Storley, I feel like is probably right there, right? The winner might be fighting for the title. Storley's a beast wrestler. The stand-up game, I do have to say, has a bit of holes. It's okay. It's improving. He'll use straight shots to look to clinch inside. He'll use that right hand. He'll close distance quickly. He'll look to clinch you up, put you against the cage. Neiman Gracie, a rangier kickboxing striking style, brings in solid pressure. He's actually developed a really good clinch game as well with strikes, like more Muay Thai style clinch, has nice elbows, can let the combinations fly in close. But man, I'll be 100% honest. Logan Storley is not an easy matchup. Neiman Gracie starched Mark Lemminger, and people definitely are high on him from that. But it's Mark Lemminger. There's a level difference here. Logan Storley is an animal, and he's going to prove that in this Bellator fight. He's being slept on by the bookies. Logan Storley for the win via decision. As long as he does not get caught in something stupid, I don't see Neiman Gracie knocking him out on the feet. I think that Logan Storley gets it done by a decision, using the wrestling more so to control against the cage and control from safe positions, not exchange in a crazy grappling match with Neiman Gracie. I think Logan Storley can do it. He makes it a grind. Winner by grind, Logan Storley here. Now, looking at the odds, Storley is a plus 150 underdog. Neiman Gracie around minus 155 is the favorite. I like the underdog, baby. I'm going underdog for the win. I have to give it up to the dog. I got to give it to my man, Logan Storley, getting it done. I think he's going to beat Neiman Gracie, get the biggest win of his career. Logan Storley, decision over Neiman Gracie, underdog here. I'll quickly run through the picks. Finally, if you tuned in, you didn't see all of them and you want to get them quickly, I'll run through it. I got in the first fight, do not bet these early prelims at all. This is from Jordan Newman down to Jonathan Lorenzo. Not worth it. If you do, play at your own risk. Jonathan Lorenzo for the win. Isaiah Hokit for the win. Justin Montalvo for the win. Jordan Newman for the win. DeAnna Bennett for the win. Aviv Gozali for the win. Jaylon Bates for the win. Brennan Ward for the win. Nick Browne for the win over Mandel Nallo. Sowma gets it done. Adam Piccolotti for the W. Andre Koreshkov for the knockout. And Logan Storley main event upset over Neiman Gracie, just to give you guys the quick rundown here. Overall, I think that Bellator 274's main card is pretty damn sweet. But as far as their prelims, meh as hell. That's the fight game, baby. Let me run through some of these comments here. You think it's going to be a fire card? I think the main card definitely will be. The prelims aren't bad, but the early prelims are not my favorite. You know I don't like that low-level action. Not that none of those guys have potential, but as of right now, Franklin's overrated. Steve Murray's the real prospect, potential future champ. Bro, I agree. I think that Franklin does not have the tools to compete at a high level, and Sowma does. And I think the odds are actually a bit of a steal here. I think it's definitely worth touching the Sowma side if you're betting. Toss this man a like. Hey, definitely toss me a like. If you guys are enjoying, make sure to smash that like button. It's Bellator. We're covering it live. I hope you guys enjoyed the style. I like going live sometimes for the breakdowns. You know, of course, you're always going to see the normal HD style breakdowns for the most part, but time permitting today, it ended up working better to do it live here. You went 0-4 last Bellator card. Listen, don't be too upset with Bellator results, man. I dug deep to find as much film as I could here. I found a lot. So let me just tell you this. I'm pretty confident, at least towards the bigger fight picks. But at the end of the day, Bellator has shafted us all in the past. It is what it is with Bellator, man. You like live better? Hey, listen, that's why I do lives all week long, man. I have the live show Money Line with Mike Finch. We'll break down the UFC Vegas 48 card on Thursday. I got the weigh-in recap show, of course, dropping. That's pre-recorded. And then live streaming Saturday. I'll be live streaming for UFC. If there's time permitting and they line up, we'll jump on and finish it out with the Bellator main card. Let's see what the poll finished out at, because I did put one up. The people seem to be towards the side of Gracie for the win. Okay, I see it. Gracie for the W. The people have it there towards over 55%. So that's something to note, man. The people's pick seems to be Gracie. I'm going against you guys. I'm going with Storley, the underdog, man. No Shuey tonight. No Shuey tonight, most likely, man. Not for the Bellator breakdown. Not like my typical late night live. Time permitting, it just didn't work out. But we'll be back on it next week. There's a lot of fucking fight cards to cover this week. And then I also got to do a PFL breakdown for the Challenger Series. I'll drop that Thursday early in the day before I do the Money Line show with my man Mike. Bellator's upcoming prelim Grand Prix is going to be good. I believe it, bro. I think that those bantamweights are going to bring it, and I expect some absolute fire action. But I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of the picks. Much love to everybody that tuned in, whether live or on replay. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. Turn those post notifications on. Share the video if you really enjoy the content. Some people need some Bellator picks. Tell them where to check me out right here at MMA Experts. It's your boy AJ. Much love, guys. Thank you all so much. Smash those damn likes. I'm going to get out of here. I got to throw some timestamps up for the people, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace, everybody.